Welcome back to another episode of Silent Pals Go to the Movies. Touly is busy, so I'll be reviewing Firestarter by myself. So just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. A young girl tries to understand how she mysteriously gained the powers to set things on fire with her mind. So let's begin with my first pro. So guess who they got to do the music for this movie? You got it, John Carpenter. There's an interesting fact about him and how he was connected to the 1984 Firestarter movie, but that's a story for another episode. So they got him to write the music for this rendition, and yeah, you sort of feel his presence in the music. Fans will definitely feel it when they hear the piano play close to the ending, the little jingle. I wish there was more of him, to be honest, being involved with this, not just in the music department, but with other parts of the movie. So the people who were involved doing the music was him, Daniel, who also helped in the original Halloween movie. And also in this movie, we have Cody Carpenter, John's son. He has been in different projects, especially in the latest reboot of Halloween with his dad. And this one seemed like it's a father and son bonding over horror movie music, sort of kind of a nice thing to say when it comes to John Carpenter. Next point was that they did play some homage to the 1984 film. For example, how Charlie comes into possession of the denim jacket that looks like the one that Charlie in the 1984 movie wore, and that was kind of nice. Also, the fact that they actually got a Native American to play Rainbird this time around was really nice. There are a few other Easter eggs here and there in the film, but that is not enough to save the film. And that leads me into my cons. First con, the cast really did not bring much to the scene, but that is not their fault. I place more of the blame on the script and how badly it was written. First, let's start by talking about Kurtwood Smith. People know him as Red from That 70s Show, but other movie fans know him from RoboCop, Broken Arrow, Dead Poet Society, and various other TV shows that he's been in. In this movie, he played Dr. Joseph Wanless, the character from the 1984 movie. We do have Kurtwood Smith deliver the famous lines about the bottle being late and the baby crying in the crib and the teddy bear being set on fire. At that point, I was like, he's coming back into this movie. He's going to be the main driving force. He's going to be the bad guy who's going to be after Charlie and tries to get everything in motion. And then all of a sudden, the movie slapped me right in the face and said, how dare you try to make this movie a decent movie? To keep it short, he only appeared once, just in one scene. Pretty much that was it. The next character I had issues with was Rainbird, but not for his grudge that he had against the government, since I really liked one of his lines he delivered to the head lady of the DSI, Captain. He told her she did not know them, quote unquote, people with special powers, and that he had to kill his brothers, sisters, and even mothers. Here I felt like it was a Native American voice coming through, saying how all the Native Americans were used by the American government back in the days to start wars against other tribes and eliminate them in case they stood in the way as the US progressed towards the West. But at the same time, I saw it as Rainbird siding with all the people that had the powers, like Charlie, her mother, her dad, since Rainbird himself, he also had powers in the movie. He also felt bad for having to kill all the people he had to kill, but yeah, he did kill Charlie's mom and Charlie knew about it, and I even think that she vowed to avenge her, but at the end, Rainbird kneeled before Charlie like he was kneeling before Jesus, asking for forgiveness in a swift death to be delivered by Charlie, just to Charlie to leave him alone and let him live. Also at the end, he takes over the role as the protector, as Charlie's dad, and basically takes her into his protection. I was like, my mind just felt like Andy McGee. I had used too many pushes and it felt like I couldn't wrap my head around what was happening. I just couldn't understand. Rainbird, first, you are called to get Charlie and then you kill her mom, then you get captured, then you want Charlie to kill you and she doesn't, so you become her bodyguard. It's kind of a little too far-fetched or too fast-moving movie for me to accept that fact. Like, this would have worked first if he had planned to lure Charlie to the facility with him impersonating her father through mind telepathy all along, but then why kill the mother? Second, if you really wanted Charlie to kill him for all that he had done wrong in the past, why keep killing cops and agents even at the end? Why not just tell Charlie, hey, I have done wrong and I really want you to save me by killing me? That's the only alternative I have. The only way I could have accepted him taking over Andy's role as a protector would have been if he had spoke to Andy the cheap way through mind telepathy when they were in the facility, and for Andy to tell him he wouldn't last any longer, he was dying, and he needed to know that somebody would be there to protect Charlie, and knows that he's going to be able to train her to basically protect herself in the future once he was gone. And this way, Rainbird would see this as his way to find redemption. So bottom line is that the characters were not really well developed enough for me to care for any of them, going from Captain, the leader of the DSI, to Charlie, to her dad, to her mom, even Rainbird, and all the others that were involved in the movie. Next con is, what is the movie? Is it a continuation from the 1984 version, since Dr. Joseph Wanless is asked to return to the project since he has been retired? Rainbird, or is it a remake, reboot, since we see another version of Rainbird and Charlie in this movie? Or is it based on the book? That way they can kind of change different things and take different routes, since we see Rainbird survive at the end and take Charlie with him. What I think is that Blumhouse just went with the option D and said, hey, let's go with all the aboves. Maybe the 10 audience who see this movie won't even care, or they'll make up their own mind. I just hope that Blumhouse does not take the original movie's route and years down the road will bring the sequel, which is way worse than the original. I just feel that this project would have worked best as a series where we could have seen Charlie develop her power slowly, be able to gain control over them, be able to learn different techniques we saw her have in this movie. And with episodes, we get to understand the characters and get invested in them. And if one dies, we kind of get invested and we kind of feel for them. If only there was some other show that had something like this and would have shown that they would make a lot of money and be trending for seasons to come. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's Stranger Things. That was a successful show that takes place back in the 80s that deals with particularly the same concept with superhuman powers versus the government and deals with all these emotions that everybody sees in the movie. But it is well developed as a TV show. So my grade for this movie is going to be a 2.5 out of 10. The film was only 90 minutes long, but I mean, it was long with nothing happening on screen. This Charlie, since the beginning, wanted to hurt people. She even said so once she burned her mother, that her real target was her dad. To her dad, she burned the cat, and in the trailer she burned a bird. So coming from that, this seems like a fire starter that was destined to cause chaos, but the chaos is going to actually be Blumhouse's profit. So that does it for this review of Firestarter. Please join us next time where we're going to review Maverick.
You think up there you're dead. Believe me.
My dad believed in you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.